Amy Klobuchar is a U.S. Senator from Minnesota. She is now running for governor. Senator Klobuchar, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brett.
What's your initial reading? You heard Ambassador Greer there and his take.
I have a lot of respect for Ambassador Greer. I was in the courtroom, and I was able to listen very carefully to those justices and knew and predicted this result, so I'm not surprised by it. What I am surprised by is that the president would use words like unpatriotic and saying that they are lapdogs about some of the most conservative justices that our country has ever known, which include, of course, Justice Gorsuch, Justice Amy Coney Barrett that he appointed, as well as, of course, Justice Roberts. And when I looked at this case, I just thought it is very clear from the trade court that heard it at the beginning, which included a Trump-appointed judge and a Reagan-appointed judge, that IEEPA could not be used in this way. So while I understand and have supported tariffs in the past to be used as an important tool, they used a sledgehammer here with this statute and have done great harm for farmers in my state. One said it was a perfect storm of ugly, how his soybean market has dried up. Or small manufacturers that have ended up just being roadkill because they don't have the reserves to handle this. So the chaos this has created, changes over 100 times and the like, has done damage to our economy and particularly American consumers. Last estimate from one budget, the Yale Budget Lab, was $1,700 per American family last year.
You know, Senator, there are companies and people who look at tariffs differently. They see the upside to it. Even in Minnesota, a legendary Minnesota company benefiting from tariffs. Minnesota starts reviewing copper tariff, could help propose Twin Metals metal mine in Minnesota, owner says. The United Steelworkers put out a statement saying that they hope that Congress will get involved and get back into this situation to lock everything in. So can you see it from that side as well?
Sure, and I have supported actually some of the tariffs regarding steel, but I do know the steelworkers were against how this was handled at the beginning, just because it was just so broad, and we've seen manufacturing jobs down 70,000 since the tariffs were first enacted. So what I hope comes out of this, that instead of doing more across-the-board tariffs, which I understand is going to assert the authority under Section 122, under that law, which has never been used. It put in place in 1974, Brett. But the issue there is Congress can step in after 150 days and say, halt, this is making things worse. So what I would hope, instead of doing across-the-board tariffs again, that he would work with us to have a much more focused trade policy, to not treat our allies like Canada this way, forcing them to go to other markets and do business with other countries when it's been such an important trading partner, or use existing trade agreements like the USMCA, which I supported when President Trump, after it was negotiated. I think I was the first person, maybe you remember this, a Democrat on the presidential stage in our primary, that said that I supported the work that had been done on that agreement. And instead, we should be working through those processes and get new trade agreements, some of which Ambassador Greer pointed out have been negotiated across the world, instead of this constant negative rhetoric that has hurt our economy and these across-the-board sledgehammer tariffs, which has set back consumers and created more cost issues for so many Americans.
Yeah, Treasury Secretary Bessent was asked this afternoon if these trade deals that have already been negotiated are going to stay intact and how it looks forward. Take a listen.
I think that everyone is going to honor their deal, and there is the draconian alternative that Supreme Court reaffirmed that the president has. He has a right to a complete embargo.
Right.
Like, he can just cut countries off. He can cut whole product lines off. We can't receive any money. So, I would call on all countries to honor their agreements and move forward.
They say this is a powerful tool that the president used to move countries to do different things. You say he needs to work with Congress to get it done.
Well, the Supreme Court has clearly ruled that he has to work with Congress, that Congress, as Justice Gorsuch pointed out, a number of times in that oral argument that Congress has the power to tax. And so, yes, he should work with Congress, but he also has to stop doing these things that are clearly illegal that then lead to complete chaos in the economy. And it's one of the reasons why people are so angry about what is going on right now. Because costs have been going up for people, housing costs. Continue, Brett. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, sorry. Do you think that people need to get refunds? There are some Democrats calling for refunds for the American people. You think they do?
So it is very clear. They made this retroactive. They didn't say, oh, it's just going forward. So there will be people. There's a lot of importers in the U.S., that's the bulk of it, that have paid these tariffs. And I would think these small businesses that have sued, you know, a Utah fishing apparel company, a toy store in Pennsylvania, they are going to be going before the international court or some kind of body to get their money back. My hope is that that can go to individual consumers who ended up really paying for this because of the increased prices. But there will be major action on refunds. And, you know, I don't run that White House, but I would hope they would be making that process go as smoothly as possible, because people will have a right to get their money back. There isn't a provision in the way the court did this, and the president did express his anger about that. And I don't know how they could have suddenly come up with the process themselves, where it says, hey, this is just going forward. It's not retroactive. I'm not sure they could do that under the law. The administration should have never used this IEEPA statute. And I heard the ambassador say the president wanted to move quickly, and that was the goal. But you want to do things legally, or you're going to end up in a huge mess, which he has continued to have happen to him in various other realms throughout this administration. And what I care about is my soybean farmers in Minnesota and a woman who runs a company called Busy Baby that, you know, is just basically on her own there, that can hardly keep making it. What I care about is that they are able to do business in this great country that we live in, and I want to see us be able to have a stronger economy and not go backwards.
Well, Senator, we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.